Jordan Eberle, 724 NHL games, 518 NHL points with the Oilers and New York Islanders. And he joins us today on video chat. Hey, he shaved somewhat for the interview today. How you doing, Abs?
I'm good. Yeah, we're starting camp here in a few days. So clean shaven's obviously the protocol here.
All right. Oh, that's right. Lou Lamoriello days. I forgot. Hey, before we go deep into the hockey, how was baby's first Christmas?
It was pretty tame. My wife and I flew back here about a week ago, and still just trying to stay healthy. Obviously, with COVID numbers here, coming up and everywhere, really. But camp starting around the corner, just trying to stay as safe and healthy as possible, and just kind of all us three together. So pretty simple.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you appreciated it for all that it was, even though she had no idea what was going on, the baby. Hey, we talked to you going into the playoffs. We talked to you during the playoffs, but I never talked to you after the playoffs. That Islanders run was pretty special. Conference final. What? How did you feel it went? Did you guys exceed expectations, or did you think you had the team to win it all?
Well, I think, you make it that far. I think you have to be thinking that you have a chance to win. Anything other than that, really, you probably shouldn't be there. But yeah, it is a tough loss. I mean, you lose to a good team in Tampa Bay. They obviously go on to win the Stanley Cup. But you look back at those games. There's bounces, there's plays that you think that could have shifted the series, and that's always the hardest part to swallow during the summer, and just realize how close you were and how close you came to winning a Stanley Cup. So, but you use that stuff to motivate you, and there's always move into this year and just keep progressing with this team.
Well, let me ask you this, Abs. I mean, you played in huge games in your life, but that's the deepest you've gone in the Stanley Cup playoffs. What was the key to doing that individually for you? Because you seem like you hit another gear yourself, and obviously your team did too. But you're seeing that it's a different season, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's taken me some time to figure out playoff hockey a little bit. First time go around at Edmonton didn't really go that well, and then my second time in New York went a little bit better, and then last year it just keeps getting better. So the biggest thing with playoff hockey that I'm learning, especially with our team and the structure and the way that we play, you just really just want to stay patient, not give up that big mistake that's going to lead to goals against. And I think myself, even just getting older and just playing a little bit more mature game, better two-way, and I think it fits our identity of our team a little bit better. So. But yeah, I mean, the playoffs are fun to play, and that's I've had a lot of enjoyment over the last couple of seasons getting there. Well,
this is exciting. Senator Denise Batters is watching. She writes in and says, "Islanders, best of luck this season, Jordan." You probably met Senator Batters along the way. She's a Regina gal and a lifelong Islanders fan. And Abs, it's not to say that you didn't back check before, but you committed to it in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Am I right?
I mean, I think our whole team, you have to if you want to.
Yeah.
That's kind of the identity of our team. You look at the way that we play. We're not flashy by any means. We don't have. I mean, obviously, we have quite a bit of skill on our team, but we don't have that Connor McDavid, that Sidney Crosby asset. So we play by committee, we win by committee, and everyone's going to kind of chip in where they can.
Well, so it just seems to me like you've restored the roar on Long Island. Like, I can't imagine how excited you guys are to hit the ice and get after a Stanley Cup, because it seems like you got everything you need.
Yeah. I don't think Long Island gets enough credit for the fan base that we have here. A lot of it dates back to the 80s, when obviously they were a dynasty and winning a bunch of Stanley Cups. And, a lot of the fans I meet, that's kind of where they said, I became a fan a long time. I've been a fan for this many years. A lot of very similar to Edmonton, actually, with the way that their fan base grew. But the last year's run in the playoffs, when we were get to play at home, was one of the loudest buildings I've played in. That was really the only hiccup of the run last year was obviously playing in front of no fans. So. Hopefully we can make a charge back to that spot, and hopefully by then we'll have some audiences.
Can you please answer a question for me? Because I've been to New York, but not to Long Island, and I've never been to Nassau County Coliseum. Are you playing every home game there now? Because I know you were splitting in Brooklyn. Like, how is the rink, and what's your home schedule like?
Yeah, this year we're fully at the Coliseum, so the old rink. Last year I think we played half in Brooklyn, half in Coliseum, and the year before that it was pretty much majority of Brooklyn. The biggest thing for us, and we all live on the island, so east of the city, and it's about a 40-minute train ride to get to Brooklyn, or an hour and a half car ride. So just the commute, your schedule is a lot different. It's just a lot easier, a lot better to play at the Coliseum. Plus, all the fans, in my opinion, are they live out here on the island. It's an easier commute for them too. So it's just makes sense to have the Islanders on the island.
Yeah, well, they've habitually, that rink was voted the worst in the NHL, as you know. It was between Rexall and Nassau County Coliseum, and they were both your homes. What's this one like now for upgrades?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a flashy arena. It's not. I guess it's not the new Rogers Place in Edmonton, but you look at the building, the history of it. We call it Four Can't Lose, because the crowd is just like, they're on top of you. It's loud. It kind of reminds me in a similar way. I mean, you probably relate to this, but of like the old Crush Cannon in Moose Jaw. The fans, it's loud. It seems to echo in there, and it's a tough place for teams to come in and win. So we've had obviously a lot of success there.
From some of our viewers, Ricky Regina writes in, he says, I took Ebbs and the Islanders to win the cup on ComeOn.com. That's our new betting partner, Ebbs, ComeOn official betting thing. So he's got their money down on the Islanders. Matt Herbert writes in, he says, I loved watching Ebbs come into the Art Hauser and light up the net and pop in 6 to 10 points per game. Yes, those were that's a little inflated, but a little bit. But Ebbs did pop the lights in a lot of places. John Ullman, Winnipeg, if you don't mind a personal question, he wants to know what kind of car you drive. Are you okay with answering that, Ebbs? He says, I hope it's a sports car.
No, I don't. I mean, well, first off, I playing in Edmonton, you can't have a sports car. For a number of years, I had just a truck. Summertime, I just drive a Range Rover out here, and I try to just keep to an SUV. I don't have a sports car. I just never have. Just like to. I guess I had a Maserati a long time ago, but I only had it for about a year and sat in my garage and barely drove it, so I got rid of the thing. But yeah, I'm truck and SUV pretty much.
John, that's the prairie in you. They will never take that out of you. John Schmeiser in Kansas City says, has it been a challenge adapting to Barry Trotz's system?
I wouldn't say so. I think I'm at the time in my career, obviously I'm getting a little bit older, so it's just about winning. And you look at his resume and the teams that he's taken pretty far, and obviously one in Washington. It's just easy to adapt to it. And when you're winning hockey games and things are working, it's it's easy to commit and give yourself up for that.
From Senator Denise Batters, she's still watching. She says, thanks for the shout out, Rod. Yes, I had the thrill of meeting Jordan when Regina hosted the Memorial Cup recently. That was special for sure. And we are going to get around to the World Juniors, Ebbs, 1 second. But viewer Derek Smith wants to know, what does Ebbs think about Rod wearing that Warrior jacket? Like I said, I didn't. I was
on earlier, and you guys were talking about it. I saw it. Yeah, I was a little shocked. I mean, you feel like a little bit of a traitor, but that's okay.
Whoa! I'm trying to get over these old rivalries, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I was thinking about this the other day with you being voted the #1 World Junior player ever. I was thinking about that night in Red Deer. Remember when the hole underneath the stands was packed? Everybody wanted your autograph, and Tubi and I had to hide you under a jacket and sneak you onto the ice and onto the bus. Have you experienced anything like that in the NHL since? Like, that was just insane times.
Yeah, that was such a whirlwind. I was doing an interview a few weeks ago. They were bringing up World Junior. It was actually with James Duthie, and we were just talking about it, and it was just crazy, the whirlwind. I really went from, I mean, I was a good junior player, but it wasn't a household name, or no one really knew me. I wasn't highly touted anywhere, and went from that to just, being on the map so quickly that, like you said, there's times like that in Red Deer that we couldn't get out of the rink because there were so many fans waiting. But, at my time in Edmonton, obviously they're pretty passionate about hockey. They're fans. We used to have, season ticket holder signing events at the West Edmonton Mall, and it was very similar. Like you sit there and sign for 3 hours, and there was hundreds of people still that didn't get an autograph. So, that stuff like that is pretty crazy, and I've definitely been fortunate enough to enjoy it as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, one thing I remember about that night was you were sick too. That was the biggest reason why we were trying to sneak you. Like your eyes were yellow. I don't know what your sickness was, but it was not. That was a tough night. But you still hold that record. I mean, do you watch TSN down there? They've been talking about you for a couple of weeks now. About Eberle's got the record for goals. Lindros has the record for points. Do you think about that much, or just this time of year? Really, just this time. I mean, I still. I mean, lucky enough on the NHL Network, you can watch the games down here. So I've been watching it. I love the World Juniors, like every Canadian kid, I'm sure, grew up watching it. For me, it's just the energy and the passion that you watch these kids, these big hits. I remember as a kid, I watched Jordan Tutu. They used to do the 2-2 train or the double Dion, or just the passion the guys, when they score, how excited they get jumping in the glass, whatever it is. There's just so much energy, and these kids are loving it. So in my opinion, it's one of the funnest hockey to watch. Yeah, well, my mind's racing now that you say that. The goal that they say was the greatest goal ever was yours in Ottawa, and it's just funny how it's similar to your first ever NHL goal. Remember that? Almost the same move. Yeah, I mean, they both went to the back end. A little different. One was on the rush, one was kind of in the play, but obviously for me, the two of the bigger goals I've scored for sure. Hey, just lastly, as you guys get ready to open training camp here, what's your schedule ahead? Are you still kind of hunkered down and sequestered? I mean, you got through the playoffs once. How is this going to be different? Because you're not going to be in a bubble. How much time is dedicated to making sure that you guys can pull this off? Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, it's a full go. So we're starting camp on the 3rd, and I think camp's about 8-9 skates and right into regular season. So you look at the schedule; it's a lot of games condensed, and you look at the history of what's gone on in the MLB and the basketball and even football. Obviously, guys are getting sick, so I would imagine at some point there's going to be something that happens where a team gets it or whatever. I think the biggest thing and the biggest advantage as a team you can have really is just staying healthy. Because, obviously it's a shortened season. You miss, you get COVID or you get sick. I mean, obviously you're missing a number of games, and there's a limited amount of time. So the biggest thing is just really it's going to the rink, coming home. It's a little easier for me now that I have a family and I'm not young out trying to go to restaurants or whatever. But it's a pretty basis as far as just rink and come home, make dinner, and back to it the next day. Yeah, well, you've always been a fairly cautious guy. So if you're extra cautious now, that's a good thing. Ebbs, you never disappoint. You always got something for me. He called me a traitor. Happy New Year. All the best. A lot more Islanders fans up here again, or at least they've come out of the woodwork again. So keep it rolling, man. Good luck. Appreciate it. Thanks, Rod. Always good. Jordan Eberle of the New York Islanders joining us from Long Island today. A traitor. I got to examine that.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.